In 3, 2, 1, go!
Now coming into the autonomous period here, 54-94, having a piece of coral in their possession, trying to see if they can place it up on the reef zone, but it's just a little bit short. And it looks like all of the robots are content with where they are. Coming into the teleoperated period, 94-43 and 54-94, both working together, one to remove the coral, one to place coral up onto the reef zone. Meanwhile, 37-19 coming to hang out with the Red Alliance. Speaking of the Blue Alliance, let's go check in on them. 80-85, having a piece of coral in their possession, hanging out right by the reef zone. Meanwhile, 17-35 going around, removing some algae. 94-43 having a piece of coral, trying to see if they can place it up onto the reef zone, and that looks pretty promising. 54-94 lining themselves up right in front of the reef zone. 17-35. A piece of coral up and trying to place it on the reef zone, but it looks like it's just going to be short, but they remove a piece of algae in the process. 94-43 placing a piece of coral up onto the reef zone. Meanwhile, over on the Blue Alliance side, algae, over on the Red Alliance side, algae is coming to the Blue Alliance processor. We're seeing some algae over on the nets from both the human player and from team 17-35. 10-54 feeding the processor more and more. 37-19 having a grand old time here with 54-94, who's just trying to get some coral from the processor. 94-43 trying to see if they can also grab some coal from the coral processor. 17-35 placing another piece of algae up onto the net. 40 seconds remaining. 80-85 heading over to their coral processor, trying to see if they can grab some more coral. 85 removing algae from the coral, from the reef. 10-54 having a piece of algae in their possession. Meanwhile, their Alliance partner team 94-43 placing a piece of coral up onto the reef zone. That sound does mean there's 20 seconds left. 37-19 hanging out by the barge. 94-43, 54-94, 10-54. All hanging out right by the cage. Potentially we could see a massive climbing here. 80-85 hanging out right by the cage. 37-19 hanging out by the cage. As time expires, we'll have an official score for you here in just a moment. With the score of 105-66 for qualification match number 30. And the Red Alliance swimming away with 4 ranking points.